everybody. How are you doing today? We have a great topic to talk about today, which is objections. I'm actually about a minute early here, so I'm going to hang out and let those who are joining us come on board. This is our call that would typically be on Tuesday afternoons. Thursday afternoons. I don't know. I have all these different time frames. Okay, so typically we do a training call on Thursday afternoons at 2 p.m. And last Thursday at 2 p.m. I was under the weather, so to speak. So I wasn't really able to get my head up off of the pillow for some reason. I had some kind of a 24-hour bug, but I am ready and raring to go today. So we are going to hang tight here for a couple of minutes and let the clock count down to the official time for starting. And then I'm going to jump into this fun topic, which is all about how to close more sales and overcome objections before you actually have the objections crop up. So that's something that I know when I talk with salespeople, they are constantly asking me for ways to overcome objections. And in fact, I just got off a sales call where the topic, of course, was objections. Hi, guys. Nice to see you, Susan and Sandra, and everybody else who joined. So once I start into the training, I'm just going to go, and everybody who joins after that, hello, welcome. Hi, Jerry. And we will be able to, for those of you who have questions, concerns, thoughts, comments, whatever, feel free to leave them here. I will answer them after the training via the chat and the comments, or as always at the end I am going to leave my contact information, because this is the High Ticket Sales Alliance, which is my group that I run. It's all about relationships, and so I'm always interested in talking with those of you who are out there and who are interested in high ticket sales and getting to know who you are and supporting you in whatever way that I can. So I'm going to jump in. I am Janet Clark, in case you're listening in for the first time and we haven't met yet. And every week I do a training on some aspect of selling and closing more sales. And today we're talking about objections. So a little bit about my background is that I have been doing this high ticket selling of coaching and consulting services now for the last few years, and I've closed about 5 million or more in high ticket sales. So I'm very used to speaking with entrepreneurs and people who are looking for life enhancing solutions, which is what I call sales, sharing a life enhancing solution. And so I've been doing this for some big name coaches like Ryan Levesque, Alex Mendosian, Bill Barron, Lisa Sasevich, and also some coaches and consultants who offer some very high level services that you may not have ever heard of before. People who fly a little under the radar, but sell programs that are 30, 40, 60, 100K. So that's who I am. So let's jump into this. Now, last week, I talked about making a heart-to-heart connection with people and how to really close more sales using what I call the heart flow sales conversation, which really talked about helping people to uncover their true why. What's really at the heart of their motivation, why they are looking to make a change in their life. And if you didn't get to see that training program that I did last week, then go back and check that one out. We can leave the link also in the group so that you can find that training. Because this week, I want to catapult off of that, and I want to talk about objections and to really help you to eliminate objections before you actually get to the end of the sales conversation. So, most salespeople believe that they should be dealing with the objections after they make an offer. And I'm here to tell you that that's not the time that you should be handling objections, and that objections are real. They are requests for more information. They're definitely inhibitors to people moving forward, but they're not something that you can effectively handle after you've made them an offer. Because if you wait until that point to do so, you're going to have a much harder time actually getting the person to commit and make a decision on that call. So let's talk about really what is an objection. Now, you probably think about things that you typically hear from clients. And so some of those might be regarding the money, right? That's the big one. I can't afford it. Another one might be time, right? Well, I don't know if this is the right time, or I don't know if I have the time, or I'm concerned about how much time it's going to take, right? So time could be another big one. Another one is a relationship issue that's in the way, right? Either I have to check with my spouse, I have to talk it over with my partner. There's somebody else in the mix, and so that comes up as an objection. Another one could be that they're not sure this is the exact right choice for them. They have to think it over. And so maybe they're looking at some other program or some other, they've got a couple of decisions that they could make or ways that they could go, and they haven't figured out which one yet is the one that they would want to choose. And so those are really two. One being I have to think it over, and the other being I'm not sure this is really the direction I should go, right? So I want to talk to somebody else first, and then I'll decide, meaning another provider. Okay, so those are the things that you think about when you think about objections. But really, none of these are truly valid, because if what you think about when you think about an objection is envision it like an iceberg. So whatever they just told you, those 5 things that are the common objections, that's like the tip of the iceberg. And so this is what you see, but under here, there's something else going on, right? And so whatever they're saying is the reason is not truly the reason. It's kind of what I talked about last week about the why. The reason why somebody wants something in their life, they want a particular solution, or they want, they have this dream. It's never exactly what they tell you the reason is that they want it. It's always deeper. It's the same thing with an objection. So there's something underneath the objection. Now, let's look at the big picture. If you want to close a high ticket program, so you want to get someone to make a decision to step into a high ticket program, 2 things have to happen before that person is going to decide that they want that, to make that investment. The first is they have to know, does the program work? Okay, now this is one huge question that has to be answered before they're going to make a decision to buy that solution. The second big question is, will it work for me? So in your sales conversation, you're going to have to answer both of these questions. So I just want to make sure that in my notes here that I'm not leaving anything out. Okay, so those 2 questions have to be answered, and part of your ability to figure out where things are in this conversation is by showing up as somebody who they can trust to really open up to. Okay? Now, here's the thing. People come onto a sales conversation for a lot of different reasons. Okay? Now, one of them may be that they're just desperately seeking somebody to talk to who can help to narrow down the options that they have and figure out what they actually really need. And sometimes they're like literally tire kickers, right? They get on any call that is offered to them. So you're going to have to figure out where this person is coming from, right? So let's talk about the initial way that you show up. So you want to make sure that when you show up on the call, you are extremely confident in your ability to lead that conversation. So you've got this level of trust that you immediately establish with people because you exude confidence in what you're doing. And secondly, you must have the conviction that this program that you're selling, whether it's your own program and you're a coach or a consultant, or whether it's somebody else's program, that it works. Okay, so you need to be very clear on that before you can start getting into how they are feeling about it. So, okay, I'm trying to follow through my notes. So let's talk about the first way that you're going to be able to get them to open up. So the first thing that's going to happen is, now I'm going to assume you're the coach, or yeah, let's just assume you're the coach. So you're the coach and you get the person on the call, and the first thing you really want to do after you create a little rapport with them and you show up strong and you explain to them how why you're there and how this conversation is going to go, you want to dig to them, like, why me? Like, why are you talking to me? Why did you choose to book this call? And then you're going to give them the opportunity to really answer that question and expound upon what is their attraction to coming onto this program, right? So if they can't tell you that, then you have to stop right there and get really clear with them on who you are and why your program is, well, not even your program, but who you are. Like, why would they want to work with you? So that's that kind of beginning stages of where I talk about, does the program work? Well, if they don't have any level of knowledge or trust or awareness of who the coach is and why they would want to work with that coach, then you can't really move on in the sales conversation. So this first question is something that they are going to provide you with the reasons why this is the coach that they're attracted to. And you want to really listen and probe on that. And then the next question is, well, what is it about this program that attracted you? And again, let them tell you. Now, if they have a lot of good feedback for you, then these are the things you want to write down, because this is how they actually are overcoming their own objections, right? Because the first objection is, does the program work? So let me give you an example. When I sell for Ryan Levesque at the Ask Method, I will say to people when I'm on the call, why Ryan? Like, what attracts you to Ryan? What do you know about Ryan? And invariably, because he does a great job of marketing, they know a lot about him. And they start telling me the things about him that they resonate with. Okay, now his story is out there, and he has a lot of different things about him that people know. Now, sometimes they know that he homeschools his children, and so that's really important, that he has that lifestyle. Sometimes it's that he almost died and that he regained his health. Sometimes it's that he speaks Chinese, right? Whatever it is, there's like all these different facets of him that he's put out over the years in his marketing. And also, or that he wrote a book, that he started with these online programs that have nothing to do with what he's doing now, other than the fact that they are all based on the ask method. So it's really important to find out, like, what do they know about the coach, the consultant, or the provider? Because when you're selling the type of services that we're selling, then that person, the guru, so to speak, is crucial to the success of the program, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, what do you know about the program? Like, what do you know that makes you attracted to this program? And so you want to, again, find out what resonates with them about the program. And these are the things that are really going to be able to get them clear on why they're not objections, right? So, okay, now let's step back a little bit. What if they can't answer those questions? If they can't tell you why they would want to work with that coach? Their value systems maybe aren't aligned yet because they don't know what the value systems of that coach are. Or they really don't know about the program, and the only reason they're on this call is to find out about the program or to get some free coaching. Well, if that's the case, then you don't really have a sales problem. You have a marketing problem, or I won't even call it a problem. It's an issue. It's a concern. It's something you have to do about marketing. So it's very important to know if this particular question is answered yet, and if not, then you have to do something about it. Okay, so the first things that have to be established are the who and the what. Okay, when you're talking with this client. So the who is the coach, and the what is about the program. Now, you are the facilitator. You are the person who is really helping them to articulate what it is that they are attracted to and what it is that they're looking for this program to do for them. And if they can't articulate that, then you need to be able to send them to the next step in the marketing process. Okay, now if you're the coach, you have a little small smidgen of a chance that you actually could win them over on this call just by engaging with them, but it's probably not going to be a one-call close unless they're just really ready and something really clicks with them. Otherwise, it's probably going to be a case where they are going to need a little bit more information about the program. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that, but it's a marketing strategy at that point. And I personally have a network of like really top-notch, world-class savvy marketing partners who I can introduce you to if you are struggling in that way with really you're finding yourself on way too many sales calls and you're just not able to close them because you don't have qualified prospects. So how do you know if they're qualified? They have to know who you are as the coach, and they have to know what the program is all about and that it works. Okay, so now let's assume that we have gotten beyond that. And we are at the point now where we have a prospect who does know the coach does know the values of the coach and why they resonate with that person, does know the program works, and is now at the point where they want to know, will it work for me? Now, obviously, this is where their fears, their insecurities, and their doubts are coming up. And this is where you, as a salesperson, when you're in the sales role, whether as a salesperson or the coach selling your own program, this is where you get to really, what I call, stand in the fire with people and really help them to determine what is going to help them to make this life-enhancing decision. So the clarity that you're going to help them with now is around the why this program, and why this coach, and why now? Why hasn't up to this point anything else worked for you? And obviously the other big why is, why do you even want the solution, which we again talked about last week. Okay, so let me get back to my notes here, because I feel like I'm talking and I'm so excited, but I don't want to leave anything out here. Okay, so when we start getting into this this next stage, you want to know and get people to clarify with you, like, how have they tried to resolve this problem so far, right? Like, where are they in the big picture of things? What programs have they tried? What results have they gotten? What is this going to mean to them if they get this solution? And what's in the way of being able to move forward to actually find a way to get what they truly want, right? The big why. So let's assume that they're good and they can answer, you've got deep into the why, so where they're coming from, what they want. And now you're talking about, okay, we've got a program that we know works, and we've got a coach that we know you resonate with and you trust. And now we want to talk about, like, what do you need to succeed? What is that going to look like for you? And part of that is by kind of digging into, well, what has gotten in the way in the past? Like, what hasn't worked? So you see, they're going to tell you what they need, and then you're going to say, okay, because in your head all the things they need, you're going to offer them if you can get to that stage of making the offer. But now is when you can start digging into the objections. Now, believe me, you're nowhere near to making an offer yet. You're still in the probing, asking stage. But the questions that you want to start asking people are the questions that relate to, like, time, money, spouses, partners, indecision, being burnt by, making bad decisions in the past. So now you want to start asking these objection questions. And a lot of people are afraid to do it. But what if you were to start saying to people, well, okay, let's talk about what got in the way in the past. And they'll say, well, I don't know. Most people, they don't know. Well, okay, well, what about time? Like, do you really, when you've gone into programs, or when you've bought another program, did you commit to a certain time on your calendar that you would actually focus and work through that program? And is now the right time for you to do that? So before you ever get them to say, well, I don't know if now's the right time, you're like literally getting that out of the way. Like, are you at the point right now where you want to commit the time and you want this to happen. Like, when do you want this to happen, right? Tie them down to the time frame that they want the solution that they're going after. So now you've kind of got that time issue out of the way. Yes, now is the time. Yes, I'm going to commit to spending time to make this happen. And I want it done by, within the next 6 months, I want to have achieved X, whatever that is. Okay, you're clear on that. So let me ask you another question, right? Like, what about the money that you'll need to invest in the program? How has that worked out in the past? Like, do you have money to invest in this process that you're looking for? What is it worth to you, right? Like, what is it costing you not to fix this problem? So dig into the money thing, right? And if they say something to you like, well, I don't know, it depends how much it costs, say, well, okay, we're going to go into a solution and we'll talk about what the investment's going to be. But before we can do that, let's figure out whether you have any issues right now with being able to invest in this next step of your growth, right? Development, business, if it's business, relationship, if it's a relationship. Like, what's it worth to you? And it's really important not to let them control this aspect of the conversation by blowing you off, right? You've got to come up with this openness about the financial thing. Even if you have to go back and say, well, how much have you spent already to resolve this problem? And again, what's it costing you and all those sort of things. I have a whole series of questions that are really good in this aspect of things. Okay, so you come to the point where you say, most people are going to say, look, if it's business, it's easy because it's ROI, right? Look, I'm trying to get more clients. I'm trying to build my business. If I invest $10,000, I certainly want to be able to know that I'm going to generate $50,000 in return. Okay, whatever it is. We establish some baseline. If it's something a little bit more general, like that is harder to tie back to money, then you go back to the why that I talked about last week, which is, what is this worth to you in your life? So what is it worth to you? Like, how much money do you spend when you take a vacation? Because you told me family is your underlying why. This is what everything comes back to. Like, what kind of money do you invest, like, to make sure that you have time with your family? I mean, do you go to events? Do you go to sporting events? Do you take vacations? Do you buy nice clothes? What do you do? Because people do spend money, believe me. And a lot of these people who will tell you that they don't have money to invest in a solution that they say they really want, they're probably walking around with, the latest iPhone and, the Gucci handbags and, wearing the Rolex watch or whatever, right? So people definitely get a little bit mixed up on their money values. Okay, then you want to start talking about, well, when you made this decision before, who else was involved in the decision making? Or did someone else derail this for you? Like, do you feel like you're the person who's really in control of deciding how you're going to get to your next level that you want to get to? Or are you influenced by other people? Like, is there someone else that really gets the say over this? Is there someone else that can really put the kibosh on your own decision to move forward? Has that happened to you in the past? Right? So get that all out and start talking about that. Like, what role is the spouse playing in this? Is there a business partner? Is there someone else that's holding the purse strings or has to, is a gatekeeper to the money? So again, that's all extremely important to dig in. And then we want to talk about the fears that may be coming up about making the wrong decision. So when do these fears come up? Well, when they've already made a wrong decision or what they perceive to be a wrong decision. So I usually can help people to see that everything they've done has actually been a stepping stone to get them where they are right now, and that there's a learning in everything. However, a lot of people need to be walked through that because a lot of times they consider that they failed. So you really want to find out, like, what's going on in that head right now regarding the fear that they may have that this isn't going to actually work because they've already failed at some other point. And then you need to know before you lay out the offer, is this the only thing they're considering? Or are there other things in the mix here? Because if they are going to give you, when you get that one, well, I still need to, I still have a couple calls this week with other people and I want to find out about their programs. Well, if they're at that point, do not make an offer because they're not ready to make a decision until they tell you this is the program, right, that I want. So, but you want to know that before you get to that point. Get really clear on, what other things are you considering? Like, are there other people, programs, processes that you're thinking about potentially deciding on? So I was talking earlier in a coaching call that we were on about, one of the things I'll usually say to people is, in order to actually get what you want, you're going to have to make a decision. And a lot of times I'll kind of use the analogy of pick your horse and ride it. Like, you can't keep, following two different people's strategies. You like literally have to pick a plan that you're going to follow and follow it. And we were even talking about some people who are still kind of following the path. Well, if I fail, I'll do this. I'm going to follow this plan in case I fail, and I'm going to follow this plan in case I succeed. Well, you can't. You've got to either go, I'm going to fail, so I'm putting my plan in place to fail, or I'm going to succeed and I'm putting my plan in place to succeed. So pick one or the other in that. So all of this is really important because what you're doing is you are helping to shine a light on what I call the gremlins that are in their head. And we all have them. They're these voices that are in our head that are like little gremlins. And they're nasty sometimes. And they're going to derail us from what we really want. But when the light is shined on them, when we can actually call them out and look at them for what they really are, and do that in a way that somebody who is facilitating this process, meaning you, the salesperson, everything, they don't seem so big. They don't seem so loud. They don't seem so cruel. So what we want to do is we want to shine the light on the gremlins, right? Before they become too loud and too obnoxious. So when you do that, you get people to, you really diffuse a lot of the fears and the concerns that are within people's minds. And you have the opportunity at that point to take them into the next stages of the sales process where you really transition them into the hope and seeing, this bridge gets built and they really get to see the potential. And you've diffused all of that negativity, but it has to happen before you get to the offer. So that's really how you overcome objections ahead of time. I mean, obviously it takes some practice and some mentorship and some help, and right, it's a different way of approaching people. It does take some willingness to, to be strong as a salesperson. Take the risk of really digging with people and being willing to stand in the fire with them and help them to really get clarity on what they want. So, if it turns out that whatever those fears, the gremlins are, that they're not ready yet to put them to rest, and they can't see themselves moving beyond that, if they can't see themselves making a decision without their spouse or their business partner, then you don't move on. If they can't see themselves actually coming up with the money and investing in their own solution, then you don't make the offer. It doesn't mean that they won't get to that point, but they're not ready. So what a lot of salespeople do is they make a mistake of thinking that they can convince somebody to overcome something that these people are not willing to overcome. So you have to get that clear with them once it's out there. Like, are you willing to go to step through that? Are you willing to say, I know it's scary to invest in myself, but I want this end result? And if they say no, then they have to go back into, as one of my partners, John Bender, says, put them back in the crock pot, right? Let them stew around a little more until they are ready. Because I have found with sales that talking to people who are unqualified, who are not willing to make a leap of faith into their next level, is like, it will kill you. It will burn you out. It will like literally make you miserable, because you cannot change people. All you can do is help them through the rough spots. You're the facilitator, the guide, the leader, but you're not the coercive, I'm going to come up with all these manipulative techniques and tactics to get people, to trick them into making some decision that is either going to result in them asking for a refund or them not participating and succeeding in the program. So I'm all about like integrity selling, heart-to-heart conversations, truth, straight talk, and talking with people who truly do need your skill set and your willingness to work with them. So anyway, I've gone over by 7 minutes since I got on here. I can see that I've been on 37 minutes. I like to keep these to 30. So I'm going to let it go for now. Obviously, this is a topic that I could go on and on and on about. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys want to put them in the chat. And my link, if you want to book a call with me, is www.meetme.so, S as in Sam O, /freedom shift. So just book a call if you want to chat. I'd love to have this conversation with you. And thank you so much for showing up here today. And we will continue this again next Thursday. Actually, this coming Thursday, because it's only Monday today. So this coming Thursday at 3 p.m., we'll be back on track for our regularly scheduled training program. And we're going to be talking about how to help people find the money to do what they want to do. So this is going to be a really fun one this coming Thursday. So I will talk to you then. All right, bye for now.